Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So last weekend I picked up a new Project 4Runner that was listed for a price that I absolutely couldn't refuse. Had to pick it up, and here it is. So it's a 1987 Toyota 4Runner. It's IFS. The body is in really good shape, as you can see. There's a little bit of damage to the rocker panel right here, where I wish they had some rock sliders on this thing, but it shouldn't be hard to fix that. And you can see the pinch weld is a little bit smashed too. On the other side, there's a little bit of damage on the rear quarter panel right here. And that's basically all the damage to the entire truck. Other than that, the body's really clean. Of course, you know, it needs paint, small things like that. But overall, the body looks really good, especially compared to most of these trucks that you see nowadays. It's on 32-inch tires. I think these are real bead locks too, because if you look on the inside, we actually have real hardware. A lot of the times these bead locks, when they're fake, they use fake hardware. So I'll have to take this this ring off and see if this is a real bead lock or not. Moving on to the front, we have an old school Smitty built bumper and some LED headlights. If you look down here at the suspension, we don't have a front diff, and we don't have axles either, but that's fine because all this is going to get cut off and replaced with a straight axle. Moving on to the interior. The door panels are actually really clean. The seats aren't in so good of shape. Well, at least the guy said they weren't. They don't look that bad. These don't look bad at all. I haven't taken the seat cover off yet, but the seats don't look too terrible. Let's check the passenger side. Yeah, it's not bad either. So, taking a look at the interior here, it's actually pretty clean. It is an SR5 model, so it does have a tachometer, and it also has an altimeter, and these are really hard to find nowadays. They actually go for a pretty penny, but I'm gonna go ahead and keep it in the truck just for that cool factor. Looks wise, it looks great. Mechanically, I don't know if it works. We'll have to go ahead and test it out on the trail. As for the dash is pretty clean except for the passenger side here. When we lift the dash mat up, it does have the typical crack that all of these old pickups and 4Runners have. Luckily, they do make covers that go over this that look great, but I'm honestly okay with just keeping the dash mat there. Has the cool transfer case, shifting instructions sticker that these things came with. The glove box works. It actually has this inside, which is always torn up or gone, so that's nice. That's a nice touch. As far as the rest of the interior, in the front half of the truck here, the HVAC controls, you know, they all work. The AC works, the heater works, the actual vent controls work for each one of the different speeds here, which don't always work in these old trucks. Has the whole radio trim, and the radio works too. Has the shifter bezel, which is kind of hard to find. Actually, my pickup doesn't have that in it. It came with a free $1 in the ashtray here. Moving back, it has the double DIN center console, which is another rare find. People pay a lot for these. I sold the one out of my pickup for over $200 just for this console. And the lid's over there on the floor. Let's go ahead and check out the back of the truck now. All right, so now we're in the back of the truck. Unfortunately, there's not another dollar bill here. The back of the truck, there's not too much to show. It's, you know, all the panels are in place. They're old and they'll probably fall apart, but at least they're there. The back window works. We can see the pickup smiling at us back there. The key on the back of the hatch rolls the window down but doesn't roll it back up, so I'll have to look into that. I'm hoping I can restore these panels and give them a fresh coat of paint and they don't just chip and fall apart, because a big problem with these old Toyota panels, and probably any old plastic panel, is this. You just barely touch it and they'll just kind of flake and break apart like that. So hopefully those panels aren't like that and I can restore them. It needs a headliner back here. The headliner is totally missing, and we have this like insulation foam left over. And when you touch it, it flakes apart and gets everywhere. So we're gonna have to fix that. All the sliding windows back here work. They're a little bit hard to open and they make a really harsh sound, as you can hear, but definitely serviceable and something we could make work better. The back one works too. hard to close, hard to open, but can't ask for too much with an old interior. Overall, the interior, in my opinion, is very nice. Moving on to the part that I think most people want to see is the motor. Let's take a look at this thing. So as you can tell by the title of the video, this thing does not have the stock motor in it. Hey guys, sorry for the quick interruption. If you're enjoying this video or other content on my channel, please consider subscribing to the channel so that you will not miss when I post new videos, including new videos of this 4Runner. Thanks. It's a 3RZ from a 2004 Runner. It has coil on plug, which I believe was introduced on California models in 2000, everything else in 2001. It still uses a 22RE radiator. Of course, the battery was moved to the driver's side and the airbox was moved to the passenger side. The motor mounts that it's using are adapter mounts that allow you to retain your frame mounts so you don't have to cut everything up to mount the motor. The fuse box from the newer 4Runner is here, as well as the truckle canister. We have to have this in California. If we don't have it, it's a whole thing. So you guys in other states are pretty lucky, but we have to keep all of the smog equipment on here, or essentially we can't register our cars. So moving to the underside, it's using a W56 with a W59 bell housing. The transmission on this truck's actually blown. It's one of the reasons why it was so cheap, but I'm totally okay with that because that's a really easy fix, and I'd have to take the transmission out anyway because I'm going to put dual cases in it. The exhaust is routed on the passenger side of the vehicle now because that's how the 3RZ is configured, so it has to cross over behind the transfer case here and then finds its way to the rear of the truck there. This will have to be modified once I get dual cases in because it's going to push the whole drivetrain back. So I might find a different way to cross this over, but overall seems like a pretty easy fix once I get to that point. All right, let's start this thing up. So it actually runs really well. That's an annoying sound, isn't it? It actually runs really well. There's no issues with it at all. Let's go ahead and start this thing up. That's a cold start, by the way. It hasn't been running. That's not smoke, it's cold outside. So as you can see, it actually runs really well. All the gauges work except for the oil pressure gauge. There's something about the sending unit that I have to figure out, but the coolant temperature works, the RPM works, the voltage meter still works, of course, and the gas gauge works too. All right guys, so that's gonna wrap up today's video. I'm really stoked on this truck. I'm really excited to build this truck. It's gonna produce a ton of content for the channel. It's gonna produce a ton of happiness for me. And I am sad to say, when this truck is built, it's very likely going to be replacing the pickup. It's just more practical, it's more comfortable, it's easier to take on longer drives, and it looks cooler. So this will probably be the main truck once it's done. Anyway, if you guys like this video, if you like the rest of the content on the channel, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. And I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.